began, played out in the Phoenix area, then moved to New Jersey. And the winner of the tournament here last year when it was the Drive On Championship, world #1, Nelly Korda.
Yeah, nobody has better memories here than Nelly. It's a spectacular finish. Still feel like having a little.
And at the 10th, Nelly Korda, brilliant approach. This for birdie. Oh, my.
It's the kind of putt that can.
From last year at the Drive On Championship. And now here we are, the Founders Cup presented by U.S. Virgin Islands. Nelly Korda, the winner here at her hometown course. After the short miss, here's her tee shot at 11.
A little bit of a ridge there. It stays on the top side. That'll be just fine.
Trusty sidekick Jason. A couple of minutes left in our coverage. Let's see if Nelly Korda can squeeze in a birdie before we say goodbye.
Just falling a little bit to her right here. Looking for a big afternoon. Nelly will be to try and vault her way up that leaderboard. Get into contention come the weekend. Certainly perfect scoring conditions for that to happen.
Had at least to share the lead after each round last year. But a 4-shot lead evaporated quickly on that Sunday. Charley next.
And I think Charley's got a little bit of extra pop in her tee shots at the moment. Looking through the distance that she was getting off the tee yesterday. Granted, it was in the afternoon and everything was kind of rolling out, but she's definitely got some speed going right now.
Do you feel like the air has lifted enough, Karen, that it's not quite as heavy as it was earlier?
For sure. Absolutely. Just in the last sort of 15 minutes.
It'd be interesting to see a sloppy bogey from the middle of the fairway.
Back to the 10th and the second for Charley Hull.
And she's only got 94 yards left and absolutely pounded that drive. This is sandwich.
It's a bit of an odd shot.
2, 3, 4, 5. Tees in the back of the hair there. 8 or 9. Here's Charley with a putter from off the green, Karen.
And this is a pretty smart play. It's going to have quite a bit of break, though, to the left. Charley had a really great season in 23 with a putter. Didn't have such a great year in 24 with it, but I think she'll be looking to rebound this year.
It was her worst by quite a bit with the putter last year.
It's always been one of the strengths of her game. That and a little bit of her fearlessness, I think, is a tremendous strength. And she does, that does bleed into her putting. She certainly is aggressive with it, which at times can work in the other direction.
And she would be a new record holder, the longest before most starts before a first win. Charley, uh-oh, the lid on it.
Just where both players there, a little bit of aggressive nature in those first putts cost them a 3-putt. So play to the center of the green.
And back at the 11th, Charley Hull.
Charley with an 8-iron here. This green is quite intense, quite heavily sloped from back to front.
Right at the steeple. You have some runoffs here, but how about the recoil? It's legendary for Charley, isn't it?
Nothing quite like it. It just shows a lot of her personality. I wonder if she's got like a bruise on the bottom of her neck there.
She's talked about that, yeah.
It's painful for me to watch that.
The ponytail maybe kind of blunts it a little bit. Global been that way for a long time in the LPGA Tour. And here you got Australia and New Zealand and England represented by the player we're watching and the player we're listening to talk about it. Karen watching Charley.
Not an easy putt for Charley, though. It's uphill, but she's judged that really well. There was quite a steep tier there that really hurt her golf ball in getting up closer to the hole.
We couldn't quite tell as much on the screen, Karen, as you are seeing down there.
It's a steep slope in this green.
And back on the tee with an iron, Charley Hull.
Yeah, not really surprised. Again, playing this into a position in the fairway, and I think with Charley using an iron, it really gives you an idea of the extra distance that she's been able to find.
All right, wandering around the neighborhood here in Bradenton, Tom Abbott. Tom, take it away. Where are you? It's gobbled up a few, I'm sure. Jin Hee-em with a beauty there at 3, up by 2. Second shot for Charley at the 12th.
This was a 9-iron from 146. There's a little drop off left of this flag.
When he using her exempt status as top 40 in career money to play this year.
That was sneaky. One of my favorite venues that I played at a U.S. Open. Fantastic golf course.
Last year, of course, we were in Pennsylvania, the other part of the state, over in Lancaster, where Yuka Sasa won. That was another brilliant showing. Charley chomping on the gum here this morning. Is about 20 minutes until noon here in Bradenton, and she's got this at the 12th for birdie.
And it is a little bit downhill, and this green sits up at quite high, and it just looks like the green's starting to dry out. It looks a little bit drier than some of the earlier greens out here, just because that dew is now evaporating off.
It's one of those things you really have to work in your course management, your feel on the fly when conditions change the way they have just, gosh, over the last even 2 hours. Changed very dramatically since these players have teed off in terms of the air and the moisture levels.
So that bubble was blown before the ball even got to the cup. And off she goes to 13. Had to just punch it out. Much better spot here, looks like.
Yeah, she's only got 112 left with a wedge in her hand. Her ball actually pitched past Hannah Green's football where it finished up. So
now it's about taking advantage of that length. It's going to be a bit of a speedy putt down the hill there. Not one to be too aggressive with. Take too much on with that whole location today.
Karen, we've seen the last couple of years some players go from good to great. Celine Boutier a couple of years ago had a couple of LPGA wins, then won 4 times. Last year, Hannah Green, major champion, had 3 wins. Great career, really, really good career, then won 3 times. You always wondered, it's fun to think about this time of year, who might make that leap this year. I mean, wouldn't be surprised at all, would you, if Charley Hull had a year in which she won 2 or 3 times?
I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, having watched her now a little bit yesterday and now so far today, the increase in distance is significant according to what I'm looking and what I'm seeing. And if she can have a similar kind of putting year to how she had in 23, I wouldn't be surprised to see her clock up at least 1 major and a couple of other wins. I mean, she has that kind of potential.
And that is a dramatic increase in distance. And she has a new home gym, I believe, that she put together over the off season. But it is all about this club in her hands. As it is with most players, the putter, Karen, makes all the difference in the world. Can save you from some tough rounds and can vault you to the top of the leaderboard with some good ball striking.
That is for sure. I think sometimes players get a lot of confidence from hit and driver well as well, so maybe that will run through into the putter too.
Well, she's been out here since from the Austin area of Texas, and here is Charley Hull.
She has an 8-iron out. Don't think this is a very big one though. 149 to the hole. Great angle.
Not a full swing there. Didn't quite get that full recoil off of her neck there. Going to use the slope to her advantage. This is a fantastic shot in on this tough hole. She gives herself so many birdie opportunities with her really stellar iron play.
All right, Karen, you got a good look at Charley Hull's birdie putt here at 14.
I do. She's going to aim this a little bit left of the hole. It's going to drift to the right. At least that's what I thought and she thought. Just stay dead straight.
Okay. Par's always a good score at 14. She was hoping for a little better. Jin Hee M leading it by 2 on day 2.
Earlier in the week as well, grinding on some different things, but just not quite firing on all cylinders with her swing this so far.
Keep it here for Charley.
She has 7-iron out, so I expect this to be the full Monty for her. It's going to be a good full follow through. Just trying to drift towards the hole to the right.
Gets a nice bounce off that bunker right there. Part of putting, such a confidence builder when you feel like you're seeing the lines and you know that they're doing what you expect them to do.
Charley next.
Similar kind of line here from Hannah's. This is uphill.
Just ever so slightly, a fraction too much pace there. That would have taken a little bit of the break and fallen in.
There's a new world team for the international crown this year, and Lydia Ko and Charley Hull are currently in position to make that world team. Typically, in previous years, you've had 4 players from each country. I'd say Hannah will have that to get to 6 under. How about Charley Hull?
Perfect lie, right in the middle of the fairway after a huge drive again. Just 126 left for Charley. Slight upslope.
Have a short birdie putt. Back at the 16th, Hannah Green, Lydia Ko, and Charley Hull stalking these birdie putts.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Charley to go. The golf ball is down. Flag is going back in the hole. She's a player that does like to keep the flag in. Got an uphill putt here. She's been pretty close today, and she's burnt a few edges. She's had some good putts, just nothing's really dropped for her.
Just like that, Karen. Oh, what a good-looking roll that was. When you're looking at it from her perspective, have to think like, how in the world did that not go in? It should have fallen just ever so slightly left.
See if it goes in this time.
It always wonder on a replay,
Yeah.
at least as a player, you're like, please go in. Taking advantage of risk reward hole very often comes on a par 5 where you have to manage your risk very well.
Charley loves the risk, doesn't she, Karen?
She does. And she's got plenty of distance, but this one is drifting to the right, and there's danger over there.
Uh-oh, splash.
Didn't even bounce. That went right in the penalty area. That's going to be quite a bit back as well, I'd imagine. That's by where she'll have to cross.
To this point, Karen, and now 4th coming up.
Sure is. But an opportunity to save par. I think that's what you have to look at. She didn't try and force anything with the layup, so 76 yards from here. Good number. Backstop behind the hole.
Hasn't been super precise with her wedges so far today, but that one well judged distance-wise.
This for a watery par. Charley Hull at 17.
It really would be a great save, you know, and one that shows a lot of calmness too. Just to be calm enough to lay up, hit a decent wedge in here and have this chance. And finally, putt drops.
Calmness and Charley not used in the same sentence very often. That was well done.
Just sometimes you got to grind. Sometimes it's
Comes back to her face. It's been a bit frustrating for Jennifer last 45 minutes or so. Charley Hull at 18.
This is from 109. Bit of a fluffy line, that rough.
It's quite surprised me that that's been one of the hardest fairways to hit, that 18th hole. It was fairly generous there, but it does pinch in a little bit at the very end. Good approach, though, from Charley and Hannah, who missed the fairway. I think that's a pretty solid number. There's a couple of majors that are at 60, but the majority here at 65.
Karen, it's a lot of that's about the weekend and getting, you know, players around. You want them to play in twos. That's the hope for this weekend. And you get a tie for 70, for example, and you could have 75 or 80 players.
Well, and I think that's one of the reasons why you're seeing that golf tours are having both LPGA and PGA Tour are having a push to increase pace of play so that you can have cuts that maintain that size without having to lower those.
With the hour delay today, it'll be hard for everybody to finish in time, even if there is a low cut to play in twos tomorrow. Not sure they will be able to finish before the daylight comes to an end here. Maybe a couple of the last groups have to come out first thing tomorrow morning before they can finalize the cut